Hello everyone and welcome back to Metal Tiger Gaming. I'm going to do an initial review of Cyberpunk 2077. So what we have here is a game that had probably glitched out on me 4 or 5 times and sent me back to my previous load state, which sucked because it was completely random and didn't actually tell me when it was going to do it. It happened to me 4 or 5 times, and I tried to stream it so you guys would be able to watch it, but it cut my streams. It just kept cutting me out, kept deleting me out of the game. And, I probably played 8 or 9 hours or so of it last night, doing side quests, main quests, just trying to figure out what's going on. It seems kind of like an amalgamation of a lot of different games. Like, there's a lot of, The Witcher, there's a lot of, can't remember, it's like a Mimic, I think, where, everything's kind of disappeared. The gameplay, the game for shooting for the guns and stuff reminds me a lot of Borderlands, really cartoonish. There's not really any general controls in the beginning of the game. You don't really know what's going on. So you can do some things on other things, which is weird to me. I don't know why you can only do some things on other things. For example, you're able to pick up some items and not others. Like in the beginning of the game, which I actually got on the stream, there was an item I was trying to pick up and it wouldn't let me do it, but it let me pick up a dildo, which... What are you doing? Secondly, there's just random nudity throughout the game, which I was not prepared for. Which should have been some type of content warning for that, especially because it makes it difficult to stream that way. So there's that. So prepare for that. If you guys have kids, there's a ton of nudity in it in the first hour of the game. So I think the other thing is the driving is also horrendous. It is reminiscent of just when you buy a vehicle and you have no power steering in real life and you're trying to drive the car and you try to turn the car and it just keeps going the direction you're going before. It's just like that. There's no auto driving sequences, which would have been, I think, really effective in this, especially since it's a completely new map. The driving is horrendous. They could have just solved that just by letting you have an auto drive system. Or just give you a hover car, I guess. That would have been another thing that would have been a little bit easier because your driving sucks. It doesn't matter what you do. I feel like another thing too is as far as driving, and I'm just picking a gripe with this just because I can, and they should have given you an e-brake opportunity. It should have been a lot easier as far as changing the channel in the car. Sometimes when you get a message on your phone, you try to answer it and it just doesn't work. There's a lot of delayed things like that. Like when you try to get a message, or if you try to check a job, or if it's hey, check your skills or check your perks, you try to do it and it just completely is delayed. It doesn't actually activate right away. It took me probably a good 10 seconds when I click it for it to actually come up. And I don't know what that's about. Maybe that's a programming thing. I don't know. I'm just letting you guys know what I've observed. Another thing too that I've seen as far as playing this game is the storyline is okay. There's a lot that kind of leaves to be desired. I like the story arc so far for Jackie. That was awesome. Not going to spoil anything there. But storyline for Jackie is awesome. I like that. I do love the customization options. You can be literally anything you want, which is awesome. I think that's just absolutely inclusive. I think that's an awesome job by CD Projekt Red for that. I think another thing, too, that is pretty awesome is the fact that there is a lot to do in the game. And I think that's kind of what makes it a little overwhelming, is because you don't really have any sense of direction. It's kind of it's kind of free boat. You kind of do what you want. That's okay. There's just a lot that goes on into that, just because right off the bat, there's not really a lot for you to do. So I think overall, I'm going to have to probably rate the game probably 7 out of 10 right now, just because there's just a lot of things, and even graphically, there's just a lot they could have done. This is supposed to be a next-gen game, right, that just didn't make it to next-gen, and I feel like next-gen games should have better graphics than it does. There's been a lot of complaints online about frame rates and just the resolution quality in general. I'm playing on a PlayStation 5 with a 4K TV, true 4K, and the quality for some parts is awesome and other parts is garbage. And I think that's the thing that my system's having an issue with, is that whenever it has crashed, there's been a lot of resolution issues. So right after the resolution issue ends up happening, the game crashes, and that happened to me 4 or 5 times. And I'm not entirely sure why it's doing that, but I'm assuming that with me having to put in 5 or 6 of these error codes to Cyberpunk and to CD Projekt Red, that they're going to fix it, right? That's the hope, right? Because PlayStation got on top of those issues, the software and controller issues, like almost immediately. I mean, as far as that's concerned, the PlayStation 5, I haven't had any issues with that. So I'm hoping that CD Projekt Red does the same amount of effectiveness and then just speed in general for them to actually get that taken care of. So this has been an initial review of Cyberpunk 2077, just to kind of recap. Guns need to be, I think, fixed a little bit. I mean, they're really cartoonish, very Borderlands-esque. Driving needs to be done in general. I mean, the driving could have been like GTA. I mean, the map looks like GTA. I mean, just the function and form of the map is almost exactly like GTA. So they could have done something better with the cars. I honestly feel like, because driving around is just not effective. It's just not. Really good inclusion, I think, so far. I haven't seen anything of the leery issues that people were talking about beforehand with like transphobia and stuff like that. I haven't seen anything of that yet. And I think that another really good plus is story writing, at least for Jackie, right? I haven't seen really a lot for V. There's been some other ones that have been okay, as far as like being written in. Well, I'm not going to ruin too much. So, but there's a couple characters that go in game, beginning of the game, that kind of make it to where like they're your business associates, and their story writing's okay. I mean, so far with not really having a lot of background into it, and after following the game for like 2 years, thank you, CD Projekt Red. There's not really a lot kind of going back to that. So, again, just they need to do better with the weapons. They need to do better with the car driving. I hope the story writing continues. Object grabbing is very different. Like I said, you can pick up some items and there's a delay between having to having a notification and being to activate the notification, such as phones, perks, ability upgrades, stuff like that. And I think that sometimes, like even now that I'm thinking about it, the headshot area 2, I think is a little busted, because you can headshot a guy like 5 or 6 times and he's just like, yeah, whatever. Like, okay, cool. I guess I'll just let you live, whatever. So that's my initial review. Like I said, 7 out of 10. If you guys are looking at getting it, I mean, it's not that bad. Just remember, tons of nudity in the first hour, 2 hours. I mean, just tons of it. So just be ready for that. I mean, if you have kids, make sure you watch that. If you're trying to be a streamer, make sure you watch that, because that's stuff that you can get kicked out for. So just make sure you watch that. Like I said, this has been Metal Tiger Gaming. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share, comment. Let me know what you guys think. What have your guys' experiences been for Cyberpunk? Let me know what you guys are wanting to do in the future. And until then, remember, gaming favors the bold.